Have you ever caught yourself mid-sentence, hearing your mother's voice coming out of your mouth? Or perhaps you've reacted to a partner with the exact same coldness your father used to show? You promised yourself you'd be different. You swore you'd build a life based on peace, not the chaos you grew up in. But then it happens. The same cycle. The same patterns. The same mistakes. It feels like fate, doesn't it? Like you're a character in a play written by someone else 50 years ago. Today, we're going to explore why we are haunted by the ghosts of our ancestors. We're diving into the world of intergenerational trauma. We'll look at the cutting-edge science of epigenetics, the psychological repetition compulsion, and most importantly, how you can be the one to finally break the chain. For a long time, we believed that trauma was purely psychological, something stored in the mind. But modern science tells a different story. Trauma is biological. It is etched into our very cells through a process called epigenetics. This is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. Think of your DNA as a giant library of books. Trauma doesn't change the actual text of the books, but it puts bookmarks or highlighter marks on certain pages. It tells your body which genes to turn on and which to turn off. In a landmark study, researchers found that the descendants of Holocaust survivors or victims of the Dutch famine of 1944 had different levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, compared to others. Their bodies were pre-programmed to be in a state of high alert before they were even born. If your grandmother lived through a famine or a war, her body learned to store fat and fear scarcity. She passed that survival code to your mother, who passed it to you. You might struggle with anxiety or a sense of impending doom today because of a crisis you never personally witnessed. Your body is remembering a story your mind has forgotten. But if we know these patterns are painful, why do we repeat them? Why does a child who grew up with an alcoholic parent often marry someone with an addiction? Or why does a person who felt neglected as a kid find themselves in a workplace where they are invisible? Sigmund Freud called this repetition compulsion. The human brain is an efficiency machine. It loves what is familiar because familiar feels safe, even if the familiar is toxic. To your subconscious, a known hell is safer than an unknown heaven. We also repeat these patterns as a subconscious attempt to master the trauma. You think, if I can finally make this emotionally distant person love me, then I will finally heal the wound my father left. But you cannot heal an old wound by cutting yourself with the same knife. We recreate our childhood environments as adults because we don't know who we are without that struggle. We are comfortable in our cages because we know the exact shape of the bars. Breaking a generational cycle isn't just a psychological task, it's an exhausting, lonely, and heroic feat. In many families, there's one person, the cycle breaker, who decides to stop the bleeding. If that's you, you might feel like the black sheep. When you start setting boundaries or healing, the family system often reacts with resistance. They might say you've changed, or that you're being difficult. This is because you are holding up a mirror to a pain they aren't ready to see. You are disrupting a dance that has been going on for generations. It's important to realize that their discomfort isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong, it's a sign that the program is being rewritten. Healing from generational trauma isn't about blaming your parents. It's about understanding the why so you can change the what. This transformation happens in 3 distinct stages. First, observation without judgment. Start watching your reactions like a scientist. When you feel a surge of irrational anger, ask, is this my emotion, or is this a downloaded program? Second, grieving the ideal. You have to grieve the childhood you didn't have to stop looking for it in your adult life. If you accept that your parents couldn't give you what they never received themselves, you stop the cycle of disappointment. Finally, the 5-second gap. Between a stimulus and your reaction, there is a tiny gap. In that gap lies your freedom. If you can pause for just 5 seconds, you can choose to be the person your ancestors couldn't be. You are not your father's temper. You are not your mother's anxiety. You are the conscious observer of those things. The very fact that you are watching a video like this, questioning your patterns, means the program is already starting to glitch. The chain is already cracking. You are the filter of your lineage. Every time you choose patience over anger, or vulnerability over shutting down, you are cleaning the bloodline. You aren't just healing yourself, you are protecting the children who haven't been born yet. Your history started with your ancestors, but the legacy of your family's future starts with you. The pain stops here.